Have you ever noticed something about Kody Brown that just doesn't sit right? It's his inability to let go of one particular wife, and ironically, it's the one he left first, Meri, the woman he has said the worst things about. We're talking about calling her evil, horrible, even claiming he never loved her. He's gone so far as to say he's terrified of her, that she's unpredictable, unsafe. But here's the kicker. Despite all of that, during a recent tell-all, Meri dropped a bombshell that makes Kody's actions even more suspicious. Now, this is where it gets truly interesting. Fast forward to fall 2024, and Kody is still playing these twisted games with Meri. She sat down with Suki and revealed something that should make you question Kody's true intentions. Just weeks before the tell-all, Kody called Meri, and get this, he told her that he's still grieving the loss of their marriage. Can you honestly believe that Kody would admit something like this publicly? I have my doubts. But let's be real here. It's nothing new for Kody. He's been publicly trashing Meri for years, calling her every name in the book, painting her as the villain, while completely ignoring the fact that he's the one who abandoned her. He's the one who neglected her, the one who broke the trust. And yet, when Meri sought some outside companionship to cope, it was labeled as the ultimate betrayal. How does that even make sense? Think about this for a second. Kody gets to have multiple wives, father children outside their marriage. Let's face it, that's infidelity by any standard. And somehow, he gets a free pass. But when Meri, who's been emotionally neglected, seeks someone to talk to, it's a scandal. How is that fair? How could anyone watching this honestly say that Meri betrayed him? Let's get this straight. Kody betrayed her. He abandoned her. Despite years of emotional neglect and mistreatment, Kody still can't let her go. But Meri? She's moved on. She's taken control of her life. She found someone else. But then, Kody calls. After everything, he calls her and says he's still grieving their marriage. Let that sink in for a moment. How many of you have ever been in a situation like this? You leave, you move on, maybe even find someone else. And then out of nowhere, your ex reaches out saying, I miss you, or I'm still grieving what we had. Let me tell you a personal story. I had an ex-boyfriend who pulled this exact stunt on me. Now, I've been happily married for 16 years, but this happened long before I met my husband. I was in an on-again, off-again relationship with this guy. We even lived together for a while. After we broke up, he kept coming back into my life. He'd send me these emotional emails telling me how much he missed me, how he wanted to see me again, even when I was engaged to someone else. But the real kicker? He reached out during my first year of marriage. That's when I had to block him for good. He was trying to drag me back into his toxic cycle, even after I'd moved on. Let's be clear. When your ex calls saying they miss you, it's not because they're genuinely grieving. They're playing mind games. They're testing the waters, reopening old emotional wounds to reel you back in. And let me tell you from experience, narcissistic exes are experts at this. They don't want you back. They just don't want you to be happy. They want to keep you emotionally unstable, stuck in their web of manipulation. That's exactly what Kody is doing. He won't let Meri go, even after all his hurtful words and actions. Despite everything, he's still playing emotional games. It's honestly heartbreaking to watch. I know that Meri has had quite a bit of therapy, or at least she's been working on herself and doing self-improvement. And I think she's starting to understand narcissistic abuse, but I don't believe she's doing the kind of therapy that Christine has been doing. And because I've gone through therapy and because I've had narcissistic family members and ex-boyfriends, I want to just share this because maybe this will help you if you're experiencing what Meri's going through. And instead of just gossiping in this video, maybe I could help you a little bit to understand what he's doing to her. So we all know that he's a narcissist. I know that you guys hate that. Some of you hate that. I always call him that. You say if you say it one more time, I'm going to pound my head on the table. But you can't talk about Kody without talking about his blatant and malignant personality disorder and the damage it does to the people around him. And when you understand the basis of what a narcissist does and what they want attention. They feed off of attention. They feed off of the supply that is given to them, whether positive or negative. Okay, and Kody has said that prior to all of this breaking down, he had a family, where everyone worshipped him and he was validated externally through the supply that they gave him of making him feel like the most important person in the world and a god. And so a narcissist doesn't look at you or me as people. They look at us as an opportunity to meet their needs of attention and validation, and it's all a means to an end. And if they have someone in their life that is someone that has given them supply in the past, so someone that has been there to be supportive and be loyal, they have a really hard time letting go of those people because those people are vulnerable to getting sucked back in. And those people will give them the supply and the validation that they need. And for a lot of people, when they break up with a narcissist, it's an extremely vulnerable time because when you get away from their mind games and you can start to see things clearly, you start to feel normal. I remember when I cut off family members, and it took me about a year to kind of decompress what I had gone through. And I realized, the entire life I had lived until I went, no contact was so confusing. I felt like I was constantly in this mind game of like never feeling good enough and always being told that I wasn't enough and that I was somehow not meeting some sort of expectation. There were so many lies and mistruths and gaslighting. And then when I got away from it, the narcissists don't want to let you go because they want to keep hold of their supply. And so once they've discarded you and devalued you, they do what's called hoovering, like a vacuum cleaner. They hover around you and they want to suck you back into their vortex. And it's a part of the cycle of narcissistic abuse. And so Kody has had her in this cycle of narcissistic abuse for 30 plus years. And so Meri says, I'm not going to allow him to burden me with his grief. And while it's an interesting way for her to say that Kody has often said that Meri burdened him with how she felt, and I think it's, sad that they lived in a family where human emotion was viewed as a burden to someone else, right? And he said that he didn't want to carry her burden. And now she's saying, I don't want to carry his burden. He's not asking her to carry any burden. He's not doing that. And I think she's misunderstanding what he's doing. He's trying to suck her back in. And what hoovering looks like is they'll contact. So you cut off contact with the narcissist, or they've cut you off, and then suddenly they make contact with you and they want to apologize and they promise they're going to change and they want to be your friend and they forget they want you to forget about it, and then they start love bombing you, right? And they want to make you feel good. They call you their favorite ex-wife. They say that you're their friend. They want to have conversations with you about feelings and talk about what you're going to do in the future. They want to remind you how great you are. And they might also do things like force interactions. So they might text you by accident. They might email you. They might call you and say, oh, I thought I was calling Sowando. Right. Or they might run into you in a place where you shouldn't be running into them. They also like to make up crises. This is something that happens in my family where they always had like a reason they needed to contact me because there was an urgent crisis. And this is always how I got sucked back in. They can also use your family and friends. So if they can't talk to you directly, they might try to establish contact with you through your friends and family, and use your friends and family as like a person to like send messages to. And they also, while they're doing all of these actions, they try to gaslight you and try to make you believe that what you experienced with them wasn't as bad as you thought it was. So they're doing it because they want you to be back in their fold, because they need the supply that you give them and they want you back. And so in order to get you back, they know they were jerks. And so they need to make you think that what you went through isn't what you really went through. And they need to find a million different ways to get you back in their life. But the truth is that it's just a cycle, because once you get back into their life, nothing will change. It'll be the exact same cycle. You'll go through devaluing, or he'll go through, you go through the love bombing phase, and then you go through the devaluing phasing, and then they discard you, and then they hoover again. And it's just like this sick cycle that they go through. And so he's been doing this to Meri for a million years. And breaking cycles of narcissistic abuse is so hard, especially if they're your partner or a parent or a sibling, because narcissists prey on you. You and I's empathy and compassion and vulnerability, and our desire to want to see people change and do better, and so they can say all the right things to get you to come back to them. And so what I noticed about Meri is she said, I told him that it wasn't his place to do this to me anymore, and he got mad at me, and he said that I could do this. he had a right to talk to me about this. Kody feels a sense of entitlement that he can do whatever he wants, and he doesn't respect her boundaries, which is what narcs do. But it also tells me that if he's reaching out to her, he's doing this because he's not getting the supply needs that he needs from Robyn and Robyn alone, because they're never satisfied with just like enough, they need more. And he has been in plural marriage and polygamy for 57 years. How you don't just or not 57 years, but he got married when he was like 22. So 35 years, that's how he's lived his life. And you're going to tell a narc that's had constant validation and worship that you suddenly have to go without that and have only one wife. He will never be satisfied with only one wife. And that's why he always has to try to lure someone back in, even though he doesn't want her. It's just sick. And I would guess that over the years, this is exactly what he did to Meri. And this is exactly how she was strung along. And in this episode, Christine said that Kody played mind games with them. He strung them along. She specifically got angry at Kody for crying when Meri left because she felt embarrassed that he would do that, because he's the reason why the family fell apart. He doesn't get to cry and be sad that she's leaving because he caused it, and that it's not fair to Meri to put her through that. And Meri and Christine have always been had a lot of friction. But Christine is a truth teller. And sometimes people don't like to be around friends that tell the truth and can see things for what they are. But in October at least of 2024, Kody was unwilling still to let Meri go. Meri was obviously in a better place then, where she didn't want anything to do with him. And I think even now, we're in June of 2025, she's way better than she was then, right? She's so much better than she was then. Her and Kody don't have any kind of relationship, but I bet you he's just one bad day away from trying to call her and get her back. Even though he says on the show that he doesn't want her back, she is the one that he can't let go. She was the most loyal, she was the most giving, she sacrificed the most for him. And no matter what he says, he cannot let her go. And Meri needs to be strong. And I would recommend to Meri to go no contact, because Kody won't give up. Even no matter what he says on the show, he will not give up ever. And this is why Janelle has gone back to him 3 or 4 times in the past, because he won't give up. That's why all of them should be no contact with him. So what are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed, and click the bell so you never miss a video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye, guys.